So when you were growing up in the church,
Closer to the mic, baby, can't hear you.
when you were growing up in the church, did it fulfill your needs? Because today, now, I don't go to church because it doesn't fulfill my needs.
Smaller churches, in my experience, do. Mega churches can't. That's not what they're designed to do. But smaller churches do, yeah.
That's it. Because you can't get close to your brother. That's why house churches, they were one accord, one heart. Acts 2:32.
Thanks for coming to Fresno again, Dr. Wright.
One of them.
You mentioned black theology, and I was wondering, in light of Ralph Warnock's new work, The Divided Mind of the Black Church, where he talks about...
We channel James Cone, but he said we read James Cone and quote James Cone, but we channel Billy Graham.
Right. So that's my question. The question is why, from your perspective, has black liberation theology not made its way into the black church?
Several reasons. Number one, it depends on geographical location and pastoral leadership. Number one, 90% of African American churches do not have seminary trained pastors. And as I said,
there's no checks and balances, right?
Black theology was for the academy, it's for the seminary. And most pastors in African American denominations are not seminary trained.
Nope. And that's why you got renegade.
All right, that's part
no
of
checks,
right
no balances can get in, dictatorship, elitism,
among others,
everything else.
In the field of practical theology have argued, accurately argued, is that nobody ever made it make sense to the person in the pew. Because the pastor without seminary education didn't know how to do that. So he just poo-pooed it and kept up with the fans of the white Jesus and Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci's Lord's Supper. He didn't try to make black theology make sense for the average worker and person in the church. And practical theology also dealt with how do you take deep theological issues like the difference between equality as opposed to equity and make them make sense for ordinary church folk. If you don't, you'll lose them.
Mass land,
equity.
building communities.
No. Anthony Reddy,
one side commercial, one side for the people.
Afro-British, shows how to do that at the local church.
Pull the equity from the commercial buildings.
And one example is the musical chair. Forget that one. That takes too long. I'll do it privately at dinner. I haven't eaten dinner anyway. The one he says, equal footing. We're all on an even playing field, right? Take me 50 years ago. I would have been 23, 5'10", 200 pounds, and put me at a starting block in a 100-yard heat with another 5'10" African-American male, 23 years old. That's equal footing. It's an equal playing field, isn't it? We both got an equal chance of winning this race, don't we? You didn't tell me that this brother here named Usain Bolt. In order for there to be equity in this race, give me a 50-yard head start and then fire the gun. And how that relates to you is in your black community, you don't have computers in your school like they have in the white school.
You don't own anything. You don't own the mass tracks.
So you're not on an equal playing field.
You don't own the strip malls like Nipsey Hussle.
Black kids need equity. They need the same things that are in the white community by the zip code in black communities.
Maps.
It's that kind of practical application that church folk then begin to see. That's what Cone is talking about. That's what Deotis Roberts was talking about. But if you don't break it down for them in language they can understand, it never.
Like buy mass land, build communities, lease to commercial buildings to bring income, balance and equity with equality.
My pleasure to.